Hey guys, Troy Casey, Certified Health Nut. In an effort to bring you more fun, freedom, and phenomenon, this is the Certified Health Nut Experience. And today I have a very special guest, a friend of mine for the last 17 years, Ian Clark. He is the creator and producer of Activation Products, the magnesium spray I've been using for the last 17 years. It helps your muscles relax, but more important than just products, Ian has a fantastic story. He was given a short time to live about 17 years ago, and he's here and thriving and ready to tell us all about how he scoured the planet, finding the best healing modalities, or what he calls are the master keys to health, longevity. You could call it biohacking if you're into the Dave Asprey marketing situation, or you could just call it natural health, natural medicine, etc. So Ian, welcome to the show. Thank you so very much for coming today. And so can you take us back to where your health journey all started? Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how you got started in your health journey.
So right at the current moment, I turned 67 in June. I'm healthier than I've ever been in my entire life by about 100 times.
Say that again?
So I just turned 67 coming up in June, so I'm my 67th year, and I'm healthier than I've ever been in my entire life by about 100 times, which is like mission impossible in most people's eyes because the older you get, the less healthy you become. And I live in east of Toronto, so we have manufacturing in Canada. We ship all over the world. We started the manufacturing company because of the discoveries of very definitive nutrients and elements that support the body to have a high quality of life. And we cover 15 different categories in the human body. I found out there's 15 different operating systems that run simultaneously 24 hours a day. And each one of those systems is contingent upon each other. And it's just like a chain with 15 links. And if one of those links gets weak and could potentially break, if that link breaks, you're actually physically gone at that moment. And so just identifying what they were, I had to be taught because I knew nothing. Starting 21 years ago in 2004, I was 46 years old, and my knowledge was what was killing me. What I thought I knew, and I was a bit of a know-it-all, which is even worse.
Oh, yeah.
And so I had to be humbled completely. I had a tumor that showed up in my perineum, which is right between the legs, right up near the prostate. It grew into a third testicle into the rectum because I would not allow the medical interventions to go in and cut me open. So this, the grossest operation imaginable, is all around the male plumbing. So I'm thankful it was there. And I kept asking doctors why I had what I had, and nobody could answer. They were guessing. They don't know. And now we know they don't know. It's okay. And my oldest brother was a medical doctor for 30 years. So I called him in the middle of this crisis and asked him, what do you think about what I'm being told? And he said, well, you got to do everything the doctors say in Toronto. You're dealing with specialists. You're dealing with people who know what they're doing. And he says, you look like Uncle Don. Well, that didn't help at all because my Uncle Don died at 51 years old of cancer in 1978, 2 days after his older brother, my Uncle Bob, died of cancer in 1978. They both followed the exact protocols that the doctors laid out. They were both told they had terminal cancer. They both went through hell until they died. And then they died. And I was like, we're in 2004, not 1978. It's not like the dark ages, but exactly the same protocols were being offered to me. And then my brother added another thing. He goes, look, I've been a doctor for all these years, only 23 years at that point, because he finished at 30. He said, I see thousands of people come through my clinic because I have 11 doctors working for me, plus I'm, the head GP. Everyone who comes through, it's all genetic predisposition. You get the 36-year-old eating organic and juicing and dying of cancer. You get the 94-year-old eating out of the dumpster and partying his face off. He says it's all genetics. And I'm like, okay. So everything the doctors are telling me in Toronto, everything you're telling me does not serve me, does not give me the answers I'm looking for. I think it's me that is the problem somehow. I don't know exactly how, but I think that I'm the problem. And I was immediately told, no, do not blame yourself. That's just going to cause more problems. You don't know what you're doing. What are you going to do? If you don't do the medical stuff, what are you going to do? I said, well, maybe there's people who know some kind of an alternative way, of a more natural way. He goes, absolutely not. It's nothing but a bunch of snake oil salespeople. There's no double-blind, placebo-controlled randomized studies. You'll die right away if you do that. if you hang in there now, you could get like 36 months of life. I'm like, awesome. I'm 46 years old. My youngest child is 6 at that time. And so in the middle of all this chaos, I woke up one morning and I realized it was like this, you get these gut instincts. And it was like, there are people on this earth who have the highest level of knowledge in natural healing. They exist. They can help me. But here's the problem. How am I going to go find someone like yourself? There's no way I would have ever found you, Troy. So I had to be led. So I asked out loud, I said, if I can be led to the people who have this knowledge, and if I'm given eyes to see them when I meet them, because usually that goes right over your head, I will never discriminate. I will listen, and I will do whatever it takes. I will do whatever it takes, which is a very daunting thing to say because you don't know what's going to be required of you. And I said, I'll suffer as much as required. I'll have as much fun as required. I'll spend as much time, energy, and money as required. I am wide open if I'm allowed to meet these people. And so it was just very slow. That was in 2004. And just very slowly I started to learn a little bit. And it's like you got a 3-year period to live. And I don't want the doctor's solutions. So I thought if I can use that 3 years and get 5 years, that'll give me a longer runway. If I could get 5 years, maybe I could get 15 out of that by learning enough. And that's exactly what happened. I just started learning the basics, the stuff that if I were to go back to myself today, where I was in 2004, and talk to myself with what I now know, it would take 6 months and a few $1,000s. Mm-hmm. Then it took 7 years and a couple of $1 million to actually learn to filter out, to get to the point. Once I was at 2011, 7 years later, I was back in the normal range of health, which is boring. Mm-hmm. And I thought, what if we could keep this going? How far can we go? How healthy can we actually get? Which then opened up a whole nother set of gateways, which allowed me to meet more and more people. Mm-hmm. Meeting you was really cool because you were one of the early guys. And you're like a totally glowing, healthy, vibrant, dude, the certified health nut. And you wanted to interview me because I was kind of at the beginning of the journey. I'd lost 90 pounds. I was walking around like a little skeleton. I was a raw food vegan. And it was an interesting journey. Did that for 4.5 years. But finding out about certain elements and certain very specific concentrated nutrients that the body resonates with, learning how to detox, learning how to support the whole entire body was this long journey. And that's where the master key showed up in 2017. That was the first one. That was the classical Chinese medicine. Mm. And then I thought, there's a master key. Okay, that master key just eliminated 1,000 keys under the bottom of that are no longer required, called remedies. Because they're hard, right? You're dealing with all these symptoms, and what do you chase down?
Can you explain traditional Chinese medicine versus classical Chinese medicine?
Yes. Well, traditional, what we've learned is that it's an Eastern approach to healing, an Eastern approach to remedies, an Eastern approach to treating the body, with acupuncture, looking at the tongue, doing the pulse, prescribing herbal medicines, and dealing with symptoms, right? Mm-hmm. And it can only deal with one or two things at a time, because a doctor, you can't overwhelm you. But we have all these things that could potentially be there. Classical Chinese medicine predates traditional by thousands of years. It does not require a doctor, a practitioner, acupuncture, or any medicinal herbs, even though you could use them. It doesn't require them, more tonic stuff. And it goes into self-care where you learn exactly in a very short period of time how to support your body's ability to heal on a quantum level. And it was lost. This art was lost. Most of the information around that was just gone. And it was rediscovered around 40 years ago. And there was a gentleman who actually found out how to do self-treatment. Mm-hmm. And I watched a video called Self-Healing Simple and Free. That was November the 1st, 2017. And that exact day, it just resonated with right here. And I thought, that looks right. It's kind of radical, but I'm going to do it. And that was started that journey. That opened up my eyes significantly.
Yeah, and that was about a year or two later, our mutual friend, Dr. Harhari Khalsa, out of Los Angeles, California, he was talking about this. We run in the same circles, and Harhari's really big into healing. And you taught him about it, and he introduced that to one of my friends that had an injury from CrossFit. and her boyfriend did it, and they got incredible results. Injuries that were just nagging and wouldn't go away in her knee. And so I figured it looked pretty dramatic to me, and I waited until my friend Sky Cowens was doing a day in the life documentary on me, and I chose to do it then on camera. And people can catch that, a day in the life of the Certified Health Nut, Sky Cowens channel. And we actually did it, and it was pretty intense. Hopefully my editor will put it in this podcast here. And actually, I did some on myself yesterday. I was in the shower getting ready for the seminar that we were at, and I was just inspired because you always inspire me about that. And I went for it, and it was a little painful there, but I just kept on breathing, and I went for it. And so a little sore today. It was a little black and blue earlier, but it's healing. And so can you talk about the stem cell regeneration and what the body goes through?
Yeah, well, there's two phases to this. One is organ function and totally clearing the body internally. You do that through the meridians, like you pointed to your left elbow. So that's your heart and your lungs. This is liver, gallbladder, spleen, large intestine, and gallbladder. Back of the knees is the kidneys and the pancreas. The top of the hands and the top of the feet are your stomach and small intestine. So when you stimulate that through percussion, frequency, and vibration by slapping that part of the body for 5 minutes with a special tool, if you just use your hand, you got to go for 10 minutes, and it usually takes 2 or 3 treatments. With the tool called the activator, which I have right here, it's just this little tiny hand that has a metal rod on it, and that goes in, and you just start like that. It seems like nothing, right? But then after 2 minutes, it's numb, and then you just amp it up a little bit. And this does not cause pain. It does not cause swelling. It does not cause bruising. It does not cause burning. But when you do it the first time, it's going to swell up, bruise, burn, and be painful. But it doesn't cause it. It's releasing what is inside your body out. That's the key. Because after you do that one area, whether it's a knee for injury or whether it's your meridians for your heart and lungs, once it's cleared out, it's a one and done. You can go back and do that same treatment, and no pain, no swelling, no burning, no bruising, nothing. That means that you're clear. So it's the reverse psychology. It thinks, well, if I do this, of course, no, it doesn't actually. But it releases what is in you. So the amount of congestion you have in your body, the amount of injury you have in your joints is going to determine what the experience is in the initial treatment. And then once it's gone, it's done. And this debris, this is what I call nano razor blades. You've been breathing them your whole life through tire dust and brake dust and all these different nanoparticulate matters, which they call PM 2.5.
Pollution.
Pollution in general, which are thousands of different items. They build up in your system, and you have to get them out. You have to get them out to survive. That's the first thing. And you can get them out. There's 2 different ways, inside out and outside in. This is the outside in one. And you simply release that stuff. It is jammed in there, and your body is very efficient at moving it out. Just like you had dark marks there, now it's gone.
It's gone.
Right. So, yesterday we did a treatment with a woman who's, around 50, and it was like it's a life-saving thing. It just blew up like I've never seen anything blow up before, more than any, and I've done hundreds of these treatments. And she handled it fine. She was fine. She said, oh, it hurts, yeah, but it feels good. Like, keep going, keep going.
Must be similar to a tattoo, or no worse than childbirth, probably.
No, it's not even close to those guys. It's more of
there you go.
Yeah, it's more of a...
you can handle it. If you want some healing, come and get it.
Yeah, you can anyone can handle it. I find women are more courageous than men. Men are courageous. Women are more courageous for whatever reason. They let's just do this. And they're very stoic. They keep their face calm. They're just like, get it done. But it's a total body release. I have done the majority of my body so that there's really areas I could do intensely and nothing is going to happen. No pain, no nothing, because it's all gone. So it's getting all that stuff out of your system so that it's one and done. Your mom, when she formed your body in her womb, filled you with all the stuff that she had. She had no choice. It's not her fault. If she would have known to do her whole body completely and get it all out before she had formed your body in her womb, you get nothing but just human. Right? But her mom passed it down, and your great-grandmother passed it down, and so on. It's a generational download of real nanoparticulate matter. And it's like, if you look at it under $1 million electron microscope, it looks like nano razor blades. It's really intense stuff. They're sharp and they're super tiny, and they can accumulate in a large fashion. So when it comes out, the older you are, the more you're going to get out. It's just the way it is. The younger you are when you start, if you can start young, perfect, because then you're going to have a much less of an experience getting it out because there's so much less. Your body breathes 11,000 liters of air a day. That's
11,000 liters of air a day.
A day. 4 million liters a year, 40 million liters every 10 years. You're 60 now coming up. So you've got 6 times 10 million. You got, right? Or 40 million rather. You have 240 million liters of air.
Can you talk a little bit about the toxicity from the brake dust and the tires alone? You talked about that the other day.
Yeah, just the measurement of tires, which is easy to measure. The United States government did a study in 2009 to 2010, and they were like, where's all the rubber on the road? There's enough tires sold and worn out in 1 year that is 10 billion pounds of tread dust. Where is it? Because nothing on the road. So they got helicopters. They start doing a study going up, 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 up. It took 1.5 miles to run out of the nanoparticles from tires alone. And that's rubber, cotton, epoxies, resins, plastics, metals, chemicals, and ceramics. These are real material things that are coming right off. You know, the tread of a truck is that wide, that thick, this big around, and there's 18 of them. Then you have all the cars, and then all the battery-powered cars are burning tires even faster now because they're heavier and they go a little faster and they stop. At any rate, that's just one thing. And you got brake dust, which is heavy metals and ceramics, worst ever, and we're breathing it. So thankfully, it's not just gloom and doom. Oh, wow, we're screwed, because you can't stop that stuff. Not at this point. But we do now know how to get it out. So that's a master key to getting this crap out of your body. And when you get it out, you know it. There's not a question of a doubt that it has left your body.
And so you said the top of the feet and the top of the hands. What are the organs that
That's your stomach and your small intestines.
Stomach and small intestines and both feet?
Yep, both feet, both hands. With that, you don't use the activator. You just use your hand, and you won't get much out. You won't see much come out. It'll sting a little bit, but what it'll do, if people have had plugged up a little bit, they'll go and have a bowel movement over that.
So just your hands.
Yeah. And the key with the hands is to have a whipping action. So you're, instead of going like this, you go, it's like you hear that slap, right? It's like keeping your wrists loose and your fingers tight, and that gets it out. And you could actually do your whole body with your hands. It just takes a lot longer over a process of time.
That makes sense because in my Qigong practice, I picked up on a little bit of tapping and slapping, and I actually prefer a little bit more intense action. And so, again, we'll put that up. The editors will put it up from my experience with Dr. Harhari. And so I have received incredible results from that. I'm interested in doing more of that therapy as well. I did 6 parts. I did insides of the knees, back of the knees, and then insides of the elbows. And yeah, I got a great experience from that. And so that is one of the master keys that you found in your studies. Can you talk a little bit about the first time I was introduced to you, you were talking about the magnesium oil. Can you talk about why magnesium is so important and then the efficacy of this product? I've been using this product for 17 years now.
Right. And this is transdermal magnesium. It's not like any other product in the world. We have a very special form of magnesium chloride hexahydrate that takes us 12 hours to make that product. And you just simply put it on your skin. You spray it on your hand and just wipe it. Spray it on your hand and wipe it. You want to get at least 30 sprays before you go to bed, and preferably 30 sprays in the morning for the first 90 days. You do it twice a day. What that does is it builds up the magnesium levels in your tissue, because your body will store magnesium as a bank account in the tissue when it is this form. If it is not that form, it just goes in and goes out. If you take a magnesium pill, which is helpful, or magnesium potion or liquid or powder, it goes digestively. It'll go in and it's helpful. The kidneys will filter it out, and it will take a while to get to where it's got to go to. Whereas when you put that on, it goes geographically into your body right where you put it. So bottom of the feet all the way to the neck, once a day minimum.
On the lymph nodes, I remember you saying.
Yeah, well, you can do it I just do it everywhere. It will go in for the lymph. It'll support with microcirculation. But the main thing is, it first of all relaxes the muscles into a proper frequency vibration, because people are overcalcified and they don't have enough magnesium. That causes the muscles to tense up, because calcium is required to contract your muscles. Magnesium relaxes the muscles. You need both functions to move around. That's why older people look like a statue. They're all stiff and sore, and their joints are hurting, and their muscles are sore, and their connective tissue and their fascia is all bound up because they don't have enough magnesium. So it deals with the fascia right out of the gate as soon as you put it on. And it involves more than 330 biochemical reactions that require in your body just for your body's function. So it ties into the electrical system, your brain power, your endocrine system for balancing hormones, for thyroid, for all these different things that it works with. And the most important part is to keep you into more of an autonomic nervous system of parasympathetic.
Rest and digest.
That's right. So you can flip in there easier.
Yeah, I like to order the 6-pack because I don't like being out of it. And then my son's an athlete as well. He's playing hockey, so I get him on that as well. Okay. And I put it on my lymph nodes, my wrists, and then all over my body, underneath my arms, my thymus.
Yep.
And you feel it right away. I like it especially on my posterior chain, my glutes and my lower back. It really helps me relax.
For sure, and it's easy to get on. You just put it in your hand, right, and just wipe it on instead of having to reach the bottle around. A lot of people think they got to spray the bottle directly. It's much better into the hand and apply it.
Yeah, and I encourage everyone to look up Transdermal magnesium because everyone knows in the know how powerful it is. And this doesn't stick, and it doesn't have that white film. Why is that?
Because of the form and how we make it. We bring in the USP grade. It's a totally purified seawater extract. Whereas all the other magnesium chlorides are very cheap. Magnesium chloride is a waste product from mining operations primarily, and it's made just magnesium chloride. It doesn't have the 6 water molecules attached to every one of those. That's why it's called hexahydrate. And so that's able to store inside the tissue. And it's so smooth. It's into your system within 90 seconds to 2 minutes. And the other ones you got to wash off. They're uncomfortable. They're itchy, stingy, weird. This thing just goes on so smooth, but it's full concentration.
Ian, can you talk a little bit about how you got into purity and efficacy and high level? Because there's a lot of fluff on the market. There's a lot of bullshit on the market. Or what I like to say, there's a difference between chicken soup and chicken shit. And most of what's on the market is crap. And so can you talk a little bit how you and your company went the extra mile to get things that are bioavailable and that truly work?
Right. And so that's a discernment and a kind of a definitive escalating of purity, of efficacy, because there's a lot of studies on each of these molecules, whether it's black cumin or magnesium or iodine. There's a lot of studies there. Problem is it's not in the right form. In the production, it's damaged heavily when you take the shortcuts. You don't have the purity levels, and companies in the space, and I'm not talking bad about any particular company, people discern themselves. They want to make it as cheaply as possible and just get it out there because it's trending. They don't really care too much as long as the perceived value is there, that people will put their credit card and buy something, but there's very little received value. So I thought, well, for me, I want major received value. The perceived has to be up there, but what are the studies? How do we produce, that's why we became the manufacturer, how do we produce absolute purity with no shortcuts? We take every single step all the way from the original raw material all the way to the seal of the product, so when you open it, it's actually going to have the maximum effect. And it costs us a little bit more to make it over long term, but it's 100 times more effective.
And so, I'm worth it.
Totally, yeah. But yeah, it's an
I'm
investment.
worth the best. Give me the Rolls Royce. I want it all, baby.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you deserve it.
That's
and
right.
I want that for me. I have to want that for you. Otherwise, what is this all about? Are we just into making money off of people's natural health? No. We're here to drive value, and that automatically generates the revenue to then serve more people. So I learned a long time ago that the flow of revenue and the profitability is only to just serve more people. The healthier you get, the less you actually need in your life. Like once everything's paid for, right? You want to have a safe, strong car, a safe, strong home. You want to wear good clothing. You want to have proper food. And you want to then be in good service and feel great. You want to look great and feel great and stay young. Doesn't matter how old you are. As a matter of fact, the older you get, the better you get.
Yeah.
Why? Because you're learning more about how to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
It's a total opposite paradigm.
Yeah. It's fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about the black cumin oil. And so you put it in Miron glass. Again, talk a little bit about the Miron glass and how that protects the product and the quality of this product, because I know that you went through a lot of research and development for the machinery around that. So can you talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, that's correct. So the Miron glass to start with is a very special, deep, dark violet glass. It's only one company that makes it out of Europe. It is a more expensive package for us to buy, but to us it's absolutely essential because it keeps the oil that is pressed without damage in its good state. Oil does not like to sit around. It does not like light, and that blocks all the harmful lights, and it allows beneficial light to come through. It's not just a total block, but it also energizes, which is even a mystery to the company itself. They go, we know it's energizing. We've seen all kinds of evidence of that. It just makes the product more stable and get even better over time when it's in this package. But when you talk about this, it's just one of the 15 steps that you have to go through, from who's the farmer, how are they growing it, where is the soil, what country is it, how do they harvest it, do they heat it up and take a shortcut, do they let it dry naturally, how do they package it, how do they ship it to us? When we receive it, does it go into a climate-controlled environment? What about the pressing technology? All the cold expeller presses super damage the molecular structure of the oil because it's a shearing grinding factor over a 10-second period. Our technology is so intense that it's just a fraction of a second in the last moment where the oil comes out. So the oil in that bottle is exactly the same as it was in the seed. And you can tell right away by taste and texture and smell and color and also shelf stability plus bioavailability. So we go through all those steps, and it took many, many years to perfect that. That's why we call it perfect press.
Well, I've got a good story. So you gave a bottle of it to me, my assistant, and my operations director, and it healed his leaky gut in 1 month.
Right. Yeah, that's amazing. We've had all kinds of testimonies on just gut issues alone. Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about the features and benefits of the black cumin oil?
Well, the main thing it's giving you a very intense nutrition. You only need 1 teaspoon a day. You can do more, but not always a whole much more is better. Your body just wants a certain amount. But you take 1 teaspoon after a meal, put it in your mouth, swish it around for about a minute, and then wash it down with a little bit of water. Not too much because you don't want to dilute your stomach acid. And it tastes great when you do that. If it's full strength, it'll kind of go to the back of your throat and do a bunch of cleanup, and it's a little bit annoying. But nonetheless, that's where it all started, was just straight up. Once it gets into your stomach, it's going to go after fungal infections, microbial stuff, parasites, yeast overgrowth, all the things that cause people's digestion to not do well, where their friendly bacteria doesn't get a chance to really thrive. So this deals with that part of it to allow the friendly bacteria to thrive a lot. That's why the leaky gut, the IBS, and all that weird stuff just kind of diminishes and sometimes it takes longer than a month. It's amazing they got it done in a month. I've had some clients who took up to 6 months if they were really bad, like super GERD and all that stuff going on.
No, this guy's healthy.
Right, yeah. So it topped him up because he was already waiting for that.
And I think across the board, we're dealing with digestive issues with most people. We saw in the seminar yesterday, a woman was talking about, and her whole journey to becoming a practitioner and board certified was her own gut. And my whole 35-year journey into health revolves around my gut and always keeping it fine-tuned and healthy.
For sure. And it's also a whole body tonic. So you know how people have eaten a lot of seed oils over the time and packaged foods and all the gunk and garbage and all the canola oil cooked in restaurants. That gums the body up significantly. So this is a solvent that goes in and totally cleans that up. And then it goes and it supports multiple different organ functions. It's almost like the
panacea.
A panacea. It is kind of like that. I don't like to call things a panacea because it sounds too good to be true.
Yeah.
But people do find out that is very, very potent for that. So it just helps multiple issues simultaneously. It's like a one and done, one-stop shop. Externally, it helps with hair, thickening the hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for women especially. Like they'll put it in their hair once a week and let it sit there with a shower cap on, and then in the morning rinse it out. Skin conditions, eczema, psoriasis, all these weird things, acne, it goes in and it helps to solve those things from the outside in. And then for aches and pains. If you wake up sometimes with a sore neck or whatever, put it on right away and it'll be like, put the magnesium on also. But you put that on and it's a 1-2 punch and you'll just like almost instant relief. And
remind me of the folklore on the black seed oil. It cures everything but death or something.
Yeah, well, they say it's Cleopatra's secret. In the Middle East, They say it cures everything but death, but I say that's not true. It cures death too. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think it cures anything at all. I think it supports the body to heal itself.
Okay, right.
That's the real core, because all we're here to do is support this.
And the body automatically heals itself if it has the proper nutrition and the proper environment, according to Bruce Lipton's biology of belief and his whole work around epigenetics.
Right, and this is data. So your body's a super quantum computer that requires data. If you're putting the wrong data in with all the wrong nutrients and the wrong elements or the toxins that you're not dealing with, you got to get the right data. So you put the good data into the software, and then it cleans itself up. So it's very data driven, because every molecule has a structure and a certain signature to it. And so your body can read that. That's why you taste everything, because you're immediately scanning everything you're eating, and you're putting clean data into the computer, and then it fixes itself. Right? Because our software systems can get really messed up, as you've seen. People, like, all of a sudden they're out of here. They looked healthy, but there was something wrong with one of the links, and then it broke. So we want people to become more aware, and we're not here to convince anybody of anything. That's the cool thing about this. Their job is to convince themselves, just like you convince yourself and I convince myself. It was based on the data that I was shown. It's like, okay, that sounds like it's really high level. Oh, actually, that's the highest level. All right, let's see how it works. I'm going to educate myself. I'm going to put it into this system and see how it responds. And so that cleaned up that, and I convinced myself. So all our job is to find out what the true data is, share that with you. You make your own decision, because if a man or woman convinced against their will is of the same opinion still, what good is that? So you convince yourselves, you sell yourself, and you make sure you're investing correctly in you, because people say, oh, that's expensive. As soon as I hear someone say it's expensive, then they're not even correlating that they're investing, actually.
They don't value their health.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's the Certified Health Nut way, ultimately, is integration and embodiment of ideas. We're the sum total of all of our ideas. And so what I invite my audience to do is to test it for themselves. If it moves the needle forward, keep going. If it's useful, use it. If not, discard it. Sometimes people aren't ready for it.
That's right. And just think about what you and I have gone through over the last 20 years. We've been an experiment.
That's right.
We found out what actually works, and it's our job. Like, we look at the bandwidth you were given and I was given, like, solid, every day, able to do research, able to find out what the truth is. Who has that? We're here to serve people who don't have that kind of bandwidth. They've got families they're raising, they've got obligations, they've got their jobs, they've got their businesses to run. We're doing this for you so that you can actually get the true data and experience an absolutely beautiful, clean running, healthy body that gets healthier in every category going forward. And that's our job. It's just, I'm very thankful to have been a part of that, to be the test subject, just like you've been your own test subject. The whole entire time I've watched you progress and just get better and better and better over the years, and share it with more and more people. So now it's millions of people have got to find out about this. Yeah, there's billions of people on the earth, but 1 million is only 1/80th of 1%.
And we're here to activate them and raise the frequency and vibration of human beings. So tell us a little bit more about your mission and vision with Activation Products.
So the big thing right now is we have core products. All 4 of the core products are sitting here, except for the trace. I'm not sure where that got to. But when we're talking about is functional foundational resets, our mission is to get people to reset their constitution, their foundation. Get all the gaps and cracks out of it, making sure they're not chasing their tail, trying to renovate a house on top of a broken foundation. So if you have a strong foundation and you renovate the house, then it's solid. So you have that ability with these different elemental things that have now been fully proven to actually work, and they're validated. So this is iodine. This is just the small bottle. We have a larger bottle of 500 ml. But iodine is essential for every cell in the body. So we got to educate people about that, but you got to have the right form of iodine, not just any iodine, because most of it is very high dose, very low volume. This is very low dose, very high volume. It's the opposite. That's what your body wants. It's gentle. And then the Solaris, this little bottle is just the sample one. We have a Miron glass one for the actual one we normally sell. But this Solaris is rosemary, clove, and thyme, and that goes in to help
rosemary, clove, and thyme.
Yeah, but the
essential oils.
Nope. It's not essential oils. That's the key.
Okay.
So we have a technology that can take the entire plant, all 3 plants, do a full extract with all the medicinals and all of the plant esters, and it's a full emulsion. You put that in water, it disappears instantly. There's no oil sitting on top. It's the maximum concentration. If you just put one drop in your mouth, you'll find out how concentrated it is because it'll numb your tongue. Okay, so this stuff is super potent, but this follows the iodine. You do this on an empty stomach, and 20 minutes later, you take the Solaris. This goes and safely removes all the stuff that's released, whether it's heavy metals or fungus or parasites or whatever, and it gets it out of the system very comfortably.
It's a binder.
Well, it's not a chelator. I know what you're referring to, but what it does, it turns that material into inert matter.
Inert, right.
And it's safe. It's not like charcoal where it binds, or it's not like a chelator, like a zeolite. This is totally different. This is that's why sometimes those things that grab things, they can release them later in different parts of the body. That's why people get Herxheimer's, or they get really big headaches, or they have downtime.
Detox reaction.
That's right, which we avoid that.
Right, because if somebody feels like they're getting the flu or completely breaking down, then they'll probably quit the protocol.
Right. And
so slower is better.
That's right. And the other master key, and these are all tied in with master keys, but I don't want to go too deep because it's too overwhelming, but there is one very important one, which is no matter how old you are, you have a certain amount of red bone marrow. If you're 20, you've got your whole body's all red bone marrow. You can maintain that by feeding the body a raw material from a seawater extract of actual minerals that are purified, because all the oceans are completely contaminated. Mm-hmm. So we found a company out of Europe that purifies the sea minerals without damaging them and with no microplastics and no heavy metals. None of the debris, none of the pollution. You put that in water and you drink it. Like when I was 64 years old, I did the protocol. It took 1 year for my body to dump all the stuff by producing major amounts more blood with the bone marrow in my large bones. I was down at 35% red bone marrow at 64, because that's what happens if you don't know. Right, but I was able to produce lots more blood, and I cleaned my whole body out. It took a year. So all this stuff comes out in the bowels, like all this black soot and all the stuff that left. I coughed a whole bunch of stuff out of my lungs because it had to clean out the other way. You get 100 square miles here. So just drinking this seawater that you make yourself, that's purified.
And that's another product that you have that's not here right now. What's it called?
It's called Trace on the website right now, but that gets confused with another brand that is not clean. Mm-hmm. So we're changing that to Restore. So we have new labels coming out. That's a big shift that we've had to go through. But it's just exactly the same product. But this took years to find.
And they are ionic minerals?
Is actually the macro and trace minerals that are in ocean water, but they're in their pure form without damage. So they go in and go to work immediately. It's not in the food. You're never going to find those minerals in the food. Even if you spray the fields with it, you're not going to get it into the plants, because all the minerals were washed away so badly for thousands of years of rain. It just washes away because rain is a solvent. So you have to go to the ocean, purify it, get it out, put it in water, drink it. It tastes great too. It doesn't have that nasty sea salt taste, which is the toxicity you're tasting. Mm-hmm. Right? You shouldn't be tasting anything. Mm-hmm. So that's another master key to get the blood production way up in your body. The younger you are, the better it is. But even if you're 85, you're going to be able to get a huge benefit from it, and onward from there. But, a lot of 85-year-olds right now are ailing because they haven't known these principles. So they had to take a little bit of a more gentle approach. And the one thing we didn't tap into, no pun intended, was the injury healing with this, because you asked about stem cells.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit more about the bioregenerative release with the activator.
Right. So that just means that you're going to release all of the congestion that is in a particular part of your body that is blocking the healing. So prime example, I was 21 years old, and an 800-pound firewall fell off of a building that I was standing near. I worked in the oil field, on the rigs in the field itself, for 17 years. So I was 21 years old. I started when I was 18. I was 3 years in. It's on a graveyard shift, and I got away from this thing falling on top of me, but it caught my left leg. It crushed my knee so badly on the side seam, it tore this whole thing out. It took months to be able to walk and run. They had to get me out of there, off the site up in BC. And then I could never water ski or snow ski for 39 years. Because if I twisted my knee at all, it would blow up like a basketball. If I was sitting in an auditorium for more than 20 minutes without being able to put my legs straight because somebody was sitting there, I'd have to leave. That's the level of pain. And arthritis and total nasty. When I found out how to do this, I did 8 5-minute treatments. I did like here, all the way around. There's 8 different areas of the knee that I did, 5 minutes each. Everything came out of my knee. I could show you pictures that are pretty grotesque. And
black and blue, bloody?
Well, purple. This is where the massive injury was, because the hit was here. It tore this whole thing up. So all of the nanoparticles were in the way, all of the dead blood and dead cells that were caught there, trapped it, and all the pathways that would be used by the brain to go and heal that were blocked. So that released everything. Within a week, all that drained up all the way to my hip, all the way down to my ankle, and I could walk around afterwards, no problem. And from then on, after 1 week, my knee was so healed that I could do deep squats I couldn't even think of doing before. I can twist my knee, I can ski, I can do whatever I want, and nothing happens to that knee. And within 6 months, it was much stronger because now I could use it again. So that's an example of...
And that's, would you call that the stem cell activation?
Yes, because you're creating a trauma site, intentional. Mm-hmm. The body identifies that, hey, there's something happening over there. Let's send quantities of stem cells because it regenerated all the cartilage, all the connective tissue. It released everything. And then it became pain-free. And it was because it was all jammed up for so long. That's why the percussion, frequency, vibration, just releases it all. It happens every single time. So I found that out in 2018. So in 2019, I did another exact treatment, and nothing happened. I've got the video of that. Like I'm going at it, like we're going hard. And nothing happened. There was no pain, no swelling, no
So
nothing.
it was all cleared.
And since then, I've helped hundreds of people with these treatments to show them. I'm here to show them. I'm not a practitioner to treat people, but I'll do a treatment just to show people the technique, and then they have to build the courage to keep doing it. So, it depends on how much you're willing to love yourself and love your body. That's really what it comes down to.
Well, I've been working with traditional Maori healers for over 25 years, and I've witnessed them step on your nerve centers inside your legs, back of your calves, go inside your stomach, break up fibroids, like literally break up tumor tissue. Very powerful and sometimes brutal healing. And I've witnessed miracles upon miracles. And they're known as the bone crushers. They'll reset bones, break them and reset them. Wow. And I just witnessed, so many miracles working with them. And I've also heard stories from people that practice Shaolin Kung Fu and have their secret sensei who really isn't on the market, but they show them techniques. And one gentleman was using a 300-pound steel punching bag, and he would develop the bone marrow that would make his bones solid. And I do believe Bruce Lee had a technique called iron shirt. So these techniques have existed, and the human body can take a lot. I mean, I can only imagine that Cro-Magnon man or Neanderthal man, when we broke our legs, like climbing mountains and going out and hunting and gathering, like how did we reset that? And, we didn't have running hot water. Maybe we used a little glacier water here and there too. And so these healing techniques are around. So another question I have for you is, what sets your products apart from others on the market?
It's just the standard that we set. So we didn't have anybody come and say, you got to set it so high based on regulations. We just set it way, way higher. So we only dealt with the things that we knew that were most efficacious in the functional foundational level, because there are thousands of companies with hundreds of thousands of SKUs chasing around all the symptoms and promising this remedy and that remedy. We went away from the remedy thing. Remedies are fine until you know. So what we're based on is actual protocol, with the products only being complementary. So the protocols are based on how you're going to live your day in, day out lifestyle going forward, how you're going to think, how you're going to treat your body. And then these raw materials come in because they're not in the food. You can't get enough out of the food. And most of the food doesn't have any of this. So you want to eat clean, of course, and eat very high mitochondrial energy food. But that's what sets us apart, because we're just looking to remove the problem. Most businesses don't want to remove the problem. Like, they want to be able to have that problem exist, but they kind of keep it, cushioned, like pharmaceuticals or nutraceuticals. A lot of them are to keep kind of cushion that symptom, that problem. But if the problem goes away, they're out of business.
Treat the surface.
That's right. But we're into removing the problem. That's what sets us apart. We're not afraid of that at all. We don't have to make money off of people. We want people to have value in their life, feel fantastic, get healthier in every category. And it's like a game. We have 15 master keys. How many would you like? You can employ as many as you like at your comfort levels, because otherwise it's too much overwhelming. So we are for the people. We are investing in you any money that comes into the company that's profitable, we invest it back in for you to show more people to do even better and to define things. That's why we're at where we are now.
Well,
21 years later.
that's how I run Certified Health Nut. My business model is to make more content, so I can get that out to the people. And so, and ultimately, we're only as healthy as the environment is. We're in symbiotic relationship with each other and everything. And currently, the environment's a little bit trashed. And if I don't change the world and I don't raise the frequency and vibration of my brothers and sisters, they're going to be shitting in the waterways and in the food and in the air and the soil. And this is the common human heritage, the air, the water, and the soil. So it's up to me to elevate the consciousness so we can create systems that are beneficial for the all. That's my whole methodology. And so can you share any success stories or testimonies that illustrate the impact your products have had on people's lives?
Well, right now, I did a quick inquiry with customer service. We have 4,764 as of like a week and a half ago of raving testimonies of things, a lot of things we cannot publish because it would go right immediately into a medical claim.
Right.
So we can publish some of them. But the iodine, for example, is just such a game changer. For women particularly, you kind of combine the E's with the iodine.
Topically. And internally.
Internally and topically. Like this is more, you can do this topical too, but this is main internal. So things like fibroid cysts, endometriosis, cramps, menstrual agony, all they have to do is actually employ it and put it on their body every single day at Transdermal and make sure they drink that. Those issues, we just have endless numbers of women who say how much it helped that with their thyroid support. That does not do anything other than clean your thyroid out, okay? Because the thyroid has to have iodide. This is iodine. And the iodide happens when the iodine reacts with things in your body that shouldn't be there. But it cleans out the receptor sites in the thyroid. So we've had a lot of endocrine
So like chlorine and fluoride?
Yeah, well, fluoride and bromide, they're brutal. They plug up those receptor sites. So that stuff goes in that form and cleans it up. Reacts and converts into iodide, and then the thyroid produces T3, T4 iodine hormones from the iodide that it gets, but in this pure form. So we have 70% of our audience is women 45 and up. So we have all kinds of, because they can read their body so well, all kinds of testimonies. This is the one they rave about the most, by far.
The magnesium.
Yeah. Better sleep, better cycles, hormone support, brain function, all these different very important things that you're dealing with day in and day out. And a woman's body is constantly going through that hormonal shift every day, throughout every month, throughout every year until they hit menopause, and it's still going through that afterwards in a different way. So yeah, women love that. And of course, the black cumin seed oil on just incredible amounts of hair and skin and gut health. Like that, those are the big ones.
So what advice would you give to someone looking to integrate natural health solutions into their wellness routine?
I would look to a psychological point first and teach themselves the why am I going to do this? First of all, why do I want to be healthy? Why do I want a body that stops aging? Why do I want a body that gets healthier as I get older? What is my purpose here? What's my mission? Everyone's been given a mission.
That's my work. Legacy, baby.
For sure.
What are you doing?
And the longer you're here, for every 10 years you're here, you're going to be supporting the people around you 10 times more. You know, it's exponential. Just look where you are 10 years now from where you were 10 years ago. So, and where you're going to be in 10 years from here. So it's really the why. Because if you don't know the why, we can tell you the what and the how, but the why allows you to convince yourself. Right? So you can, and also to build enthusiasm. Enthusiasm builds courage. Courage encourages yourself, encourages others. Getting yourself up and up and up all the time so that you can then support other people to see that and to raise their vibration or their energy or their health on an ongoing basis. And that's the biggest message of all. Get there. And then you got to discern. You got to know where you're spending your time, effort, energy, and money in order to get the maximum return with no shortcuts. That's our job, to provide that information and the raw materials that support that. So that's really the first thing. It's a psychological thing. Why would you take this and slap your body and get the pain out? What's the point? Why not just keep your pain?
for freedom, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Your why should make you cry.
No pain, no pain.
No pain, no pain.
Yeah.
I like that. That's awesome. So any parting words or anything else you'd like to cover, Ian? I really appreciate you coming out and sharing your wisdom, and you travel quite a bit as well. Your parting words, how people can find more information. We will have this up on our website. You can click in the description box to find out more information about these awesome products that I take daily. But go ahead. Any parting words, Ian?
Well, yeah, definitely look me up on different social platforms, whether it's Instagram or TikTok. I don't go on them myself too much, but we do publish a lot there. And it's a lot of free information. It's very definitive. It's short form. We do have some long form stuff. And we've also got a podcast that we're going to have you on soon, which is Younger Than Yesterday. And it's we want to get people to engage with the information first. Take your time. Don't rush out and buy stuff. Take your time, maybe get one thing and try that and see how it does, because it's going to educate you by what it does. Your body will educate you by responding well. So that's really the step, is to get yourself informed first. Take your time. Don't, it's not a shiny object. These are glowing objects that have depth to them. So you want to have some fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ian. It's always good to see you. It's been many years, and I'm glad that we've reconnected recently. Probably haven't seen you in a little while. And so thank you for coming on the show. And we'll have you on again as well. And drop a comment in the box. Any questions that you guys may have, we'll be happy to answer those. Visit my website. I'll have all of Ian's products up on there. And until next time, to your health, guys. L'chaim.